this is Katie Weeks, your independent, close to my heart maker, and today I am joining with the Makers with Heart to share our July collaboration featuring thin cuts that are in our core catalog. And I'm going to be featuring this month's Stamp of the Month, the Bee's Knees, along with the Slimline Stitch card front and background thin cut and the slider thin cuts. So I'm lining up on the light side of Honey Butter cardstock this stitched background for my Slimline card. And I want to make sure that I have that going so that it's at a little bit of an angle, and I want to leave room for that beehive at the end. So I cut it out, and you can see that little mechanism, and there's room clear at the end. You'll see why in a minute. You don't want to put this through your machine squared straight on. You want to make sure it's at an angle like I showed you. And then the next thing I'm going to do is stamp off the beehive. Now I'm using my intense black ink because I am going to be coloring some of the flowers, and I'm inking it up, and I'm using my mini Misty, and I'm also stamping it on the dark side, the true side of Honey Butter. The background was the light side, and the beehive is going to be on the darker side. And so I stamped that a few times just to make sure I had a really good crisp black stamped image. Then the next thing that I'm going to do is stamp my bee on white daisy cardstock, and I will do it a few times as well with that intense black ink and make sure that I have a very crisp black bee stamped on my cardstock. So for the next several days, you are going to see somebody from our Makers with Heart group posting videos showing some of the different thin cut sets and how we can use them. The ones mostly I think will be from the core catalog, I believe. So I am kicking it off today on the 10th of July, and Julie Scott on the Craft with Julie YouTube channel will be tomorrow, and you'll follow along. I have listed the different Makers with Heart in my description below, so you'll want to look for those videos, and I will start a playlist as each person adds their video and keep updating that each day so that you have something that you can come back and refer to as well. Okay, as you see, I'm using my non-stick micro tip scissors. I love these, and I cut out both the honeycomb and the bee. I won't make you watch all of it, but I'm just leaving a tiny little border on the outside of each of those. It's a whole lot easier when you're fussy cutting if you just leave a tiny border, and it still looks very nice when you're finished. So the next thing I'm doing is I went ahead and cut those two little circles now on my out of my thin cuts, and they're stitched circles. Now I believe the way that Close to My Heart intended us to use these circle was for the spinner element, but I'm going to use something different, and you'll see that in a minute. The next thing I'm doing right here, you will see I am covering the back with foam tape and trying to leave enough room for my spinner element to work as well. Sorry, I think I'm a little off camera on these shots, but the next thing I'm using is some shimmer brushes. Now, I'm actually going to be using this card as my Stamp of the Month card 1 for my card kits that I send out to my customers who place a $50 order and then get the Stamp of the Month for $5, or they are a VIP, which only makes sense in my mind, and they're getting 15% back on credit on all their purchases. When they place a $50 order this month, they will get a free Stamp of the Month, and then I'm sending them a 3-card kit as well. So what I'm doing here is I'm coloring using the shimmer brushes. I used the following colors as shimmer brushes, but you could color your cards however you wanted. I used the Green Apple, Lemonade, Wildberry, Bluebell, and Ballerina, as well as the clear shimmer brush. So you could use anything you wanted. Those are what I used. A couple of those were retired colors of the year that I still had, but I wanted to use something really vibrant on the bee, and then I'm going to go through and color the flowers on the beehive with TriBlend markers. For the TriBlend markers, I use the light green blend light shade, true blue blend, I believe it was the medium shade, magenta blend, which might have been the medium shade, and the bright pink shades. I think I used the lightest shade on that one as well. And then I went back and used the true blue blend, maybe one of the darker shades, to put in the middle of those bright pink shades flowers. And now instead of those white stitch circles, I'm actually going to use a couple of pennies, and I like the weight of the pennies for my spinner cards, just because I feel like they spin a little better. So I'm taking a penny, I'm taking a 3D foam dot, the tiny one, and putting it on that penny in the middle of the track, and I'm making sure there's plenty of room for that penny to spin. Then after taking off all the backing, I just go ahead and put that on my card front, and I'm ready to use a really strong adhesive on top of that penny. And once I put that strong adhesive on there, then I can add my bee to the front, and it will spin across the front of my card, and it can spin over into the hive almost. So I think this is a really fun card. I could sit here and play with this spinner all day long because I just think it's fun. You want to make sure that it flows freely on that track like I showed you. Now you can always stamp a sentiment on the inside. I'm not sure who I'm sending this to. I did go back and add some little lines where the bee is buzzing around the card front, and that I use my black lip pen to add those little dotted lines. And if you've enjoyed this, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up, and that you'll subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and turn on the bell for all of those notifications. Feel free to leave a sweet comment and share this with your crafty friends. Make sure you check back each day so that you can see the other makers with heart do their videos on thin cuts as well. Have a great day.